I really think we underestimate the power of the body. If you give the body what it needs, it'll figure it out. And we just, with our diets and how we've polluted our food, and a lot of these ailments is the reason.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Budo Brothers podcast. I am Kyle Mahadio.
And I am Eric Allen.
And today we are going to talk about training and something in particular with training, wear and tear.
Recovering from injuries and all of the beatings that our bodies naturally take, which just comes with the territory of being a martial artist.
Definitely.
So Kyle, what do you do when you get injured? Do you have like go-to remedies? What are your healing hacks? Tell me your healing hacks.
And what type of injury are we talking about?
Somebody that doesn't know what they're doing hyperextends your elbow because they got excited about an armbar.
First is rest. What happens is if you go back into it too quick, you're going to end up hurting it again. So if I hurt my arm and then I wanted to go train the next day and I get in the same lock, the odds of tearing something are exponentially higher. So first is rest. Second, I think I focused a lot on the mobility of whatever it is.
So just kind of working it out.
Mobilizing it, taking it through its natural range of motion. And generally when I take it through its natural range of motion, you find the blocks in it. I can only lift it to this high.
Ow.
I can only do this with it. And then I start kind of catering stretches according to that. I do a lot of stretching around it and trying to just get it back mobile before I do anything weight bearing or loading it up again. Nice. What about you?
Well, before we go on, I want the audience to know that I'm talking to a kinesiologist here. So he knows us. He knows some stuff. He knows some stuff about the body.
Yes.
I'm an engineer. You're a kinesiologist. So
yes.
Together we could make a biomechanical machine.
Kind of like a transformer.
We should make a Budo Brothers.
Autobots
Unite! Let's do it. That is going to be a thing. So for me, when I get injured, first thing I do is throw a huge pity party. 'Cause I hate being injured, man. It sucks. It's like being in detention and watching your friends play when you were in school.
And how does that help your injury?
It doesn't. And I'm working on it, Kyle. I know that it doesn't help, but I have a hard time not going inside my head. When I get injured, I'm like, oh, this is going to stall. It's going to be 6 weeks. And I tell myself these stories that just make it worse.
Yeah.
They really do, instead. And actually my most recent injury, sometimes I have a back issue, with a rib that'll pop out every once in a while if I'm doing something crazy. And it did. And I was really worried. And the normal cycle that I go through of throwing this frustration pity party, I'm at 6 weeks, blah, blah, blah. I just was, instead of that, I caught myself and I was like, you know what? Instead of that, because I know that it doesn't do anything but make the situation worse. Mm-hmm. I just decided to be okay, what am I, just observe it and feel it and just work on it. And you know what? If this is what I have to do, great. This is what I have to do. And what an opportunity to slow down and let my body heal. And then all of this, and shocker, I was out for 2 days, 3 days. What would normally be 2 or 3 weeks was 2 or 3 days. And now I don't believe in that it was all hocus pocus and I fixed my body with my mind.
Right.
But the reality is that I accepted it. I accepted that, okay, I could be injured here. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that bad. And the fact that it wasn't that bad, I don't know if it was a correlation or not, but it made the injury not that bad. Right. And I recovered a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm. And how much do you think time has to do with injury, your age?
Well, I can't say that as I get older, I feel like I'm getting injured more because that's not the case. I actually feel like I'm getting stronger as I age. The reality is it's because I'm working on that. Yeah. I focus on my fitness and I'm focusing on, I told myself probably 4 years ago where when you get off of the train,
yes,
and you get and you justify you stop working out because whatever, 1,000 excuses. Mm-hmm. You stop working out. You know what? I'm not going to train this week, and then a week turns into 2. Before you know it, you haven't gotten on the mats in a month.
Right.
you know, or you haven't hit the gym, or you haven't like, and it's justifiable. This bit, that happened,
busy,
and I
yeah.
got that, right? I find it's really hard to get back on when you've got that momentum, and you just got to put a couple more coals in the fire to keep that engine burning. It's a lot easier than starting a cold engine,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I find that with me focusing on my fitness, I told myself that every day I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. So that means that I have to grow every day. I have to do something every day to feel like I am in the best shape of my life. Now notice I said feel.
Right.
I don't necessarily need to have, like, you know, if my biceps aren't an inch larger than they were a month ago, it's not a big deal. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, because to be quite honest, I would rather feel like I'm in the best shape of my life or then look like I'm in the best shape of my life.
And I think that's kind of the difference in time and decades for a lot of the things when it comes to injuries. Like let's go with the first decade, from 1 year old to 10 years old. Everything's full send. Like, don't care, jump off anything.
You're made of rubber.
Like, you could fall and it's just like, whoop, back up and just keep going, right? Like, you're invincible at that age. 10 to 20 is when you kind of start like getting control of what you're doing and moving around. But like, you don't have enough power to do any damage to yourself or anything like that. Like, yeah, there's certain situations, but you're not going to do it. But then you get that 20 to 30 period. And now this period's interesting because I find that for most people, you care less about longevity and all about aesthetic. And your training comes from like, yeah, go hit the gym, do some curls. Then I'm going to do some curls.
At chest.
And then some sit-ups and then push-ups. And
boom.
Then that's it.
Beach muscles. And then all of a sudden your back starts hunching over because you haven't worked out
And
your
it's
back.
overtraining and like all these weird things.
Yes.
Like you're doing these injuries to yourself. And then like from 30 to 40 is like, okay, I got to start doing something here because I don't feel like if I don't do something, I'm going to not feel as good as I once did. And we're kind of in that zone right now where it's like, okay, like we have to do this to stay optimal.
Yes, right, yeah. And focus on optimization.
Yes.
But still, what's interesting is that I actually think that my 35-year-old self could kick the shit out of my 25-year-old self.
Right, but look at your workouts though. They're to optimize your body.
Yeah.
Like when you're from 20 to 30, it's all to look good.
Totally.
And the crazy part about it is you probably look just as good, if not better now. Right.
Right. And you know what's funny? Is like I look at pictures back then, like when 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was a beefy boy. Like I was a big guy.
Yeah.
But it was like it was a different build. Now I'm much more just I have functional muscle. Whereas I did the, your machines and all this. Like, dude, I haven't touched a weight machine in probably 4 or 5 years.
Same goes, man. Well, not 4 or 5 years for me, but I don't hit the weights as hard as I once did.
I'm talking about the machines.
Oh, okay.
I pick up weights, absolutely. But like you go to the gym and you do some stupid machine that has a defined range of motion, so you're not firing any stabilizers. And quite frankly, it's what I really, me personally, I've looked at it, I'm like, it's not a natural motion. Like, where would you go and find this machine in your daily life and do 20 reps of a heavy weight in this weird, like where, and you know what's really interesting? Like old man strength.
Yeah, it's for real.
Old man strength is for real. Yes. Like you could have some dude that has been around the block, doesn't look fit at all, and all of a sudden he's lifting a freaking couch and can tear a car door open. Like that's a real thing. Like there's something about functional training, and some of the strongest people, they're farmers, they're ranchers, they're mechanics, they're
bull riders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like I don't go to the gym and throw 3 stacks on the side and like try to show off like doing bench press or something like that. Like like those days are gone. Like now it's to like feel good and feel optimal and get stronger. Like my punches right now are like I would knock my old self out because like I practice punching almost every day right now.
Cool.
And it's because it's a great solo practice. I have access to heavy bags and I just hit shit.
Yeah. Right.
And like that functional training is a great cardio workout.
Yeah.
It makes you strong as hell for that particular skill set.
Right.
Which I feel is more valuable than being able to do a bench press.
Totally.
But
do you find that when we started practicing Qigong that changed your punches? It changed your... Did you feel a difference?
Yes, definitely. In particularly, like the best way to throw a strong punch is to be able to relax more. Like holding tension while you're punching is not the most efficient way to throw a punch.
Sure.
It's being able to activate that chain through movement, which is Qigong almost.
Right.
And Tai Chi. But yeah, like continuing on with the decades, like the next one's 40 to 50, right? And like that age group is more like staying active to like keep up with your activities, right? Keep up with your kids, be able to continue to do martial arts, be able to continue to hike, feeling fit and just not slowing down. Like, because at that age, it goes two ways, right? You could go and be like one of those fit athletics moms and dads, or like 40, 50-year-olds that are still doing all those activities and surfing or whatever. Or you could be the ones that are on the couch and like never have time for anything. Then past that is just like, that's when you're working on vitality. It's you're doing that because you have to now. Like you got to keep the joints mobile and fresh. So like, it's so funny what you do for injury prevention decade to decade. Because like you don't need injury prevention when you're 1 to 10.
Totally. Even though you will get injured because you will push the boundaries. And that's what learning up and growing up is about. You know, oh, wow, turns out, you jump off something that's too high, it starts to hurt.
But even like in our martial arts training, like in 20s to 30s, is from like sparring and like pushing it, right? Not to say that you can't get injured in sparring, but you're more controlled and aware.
Yeah.
And the guy that comes into the gym and is looking to throw down a bit too hard, and like you're either ready for them and you know how to participate in that action, or you just say no, thank you. I'm not into that type of sparring right now, because like you can't be hard sparring all the time. But in your 20s to 30s, you welcome that.
You want to go.
You want to prove yourself. Like exactly. Let's go.
Yeah. So when you get injured, do you have any hacks? Like, do you take supplements? Do you like? Is there? Do you ice? Do you like? What do you do to speed up your recovery?
Oh man, for me, I don't really supplement with anything in particular. Like, I can't say that I have like a specific formula. I really, what works for me, if you were to research the type of movements that I do, it's called cars, pails, and rails.
Okay.
And in like the world of exercise physiology, it's kind of top ched for like stretching.
Yeah. And
I really focus on those things because it's a little bit more isolated than the Qigong and stuff. And it's like, I find it very efficient. And if you ever have a chance to Google and research that stuff, it's fantastic.
So it's stretching?
Yeah, and it's stretching through taking your body through its full range of motion. I can't even remember what the acronym stands for. But
speaking of stretching, the other week I did a stretching class with Sensei Jay Creasy.
Okay.
And no joke, it was unreal. It was with the staffs. It was straight up stretches with the staff or stick. We just used the hanbo. And man, we were stretching and using the staff or the hanbo to initiate stretches. And no joke, man, it opened me up in ways that I have not. I was like in a different world of stretching. It was like martial arts yoga.
You know what? I think that'd be something interesting to do with our group. We should definitely do a stretching
class. Dude, they would honestly, our community, I legit think that our community would love it because if we could figure out a way to live stream it or something,
Yeah.
like on a Sunday or I'm not even kidding. The benefits, like after this session, man, I felt so good. And I think what the difference was, like, you know, when you do yoga, you're just like, you're holding a pose,
Yeah.
using a stick or using a utensil like a staff or a handball, man, you can use it to open up parts that you could not open up with. It's like a tool. It's like a stretching tool, you know? And so what's interesting is that like you're using a weapon that inflicts injury to release tension and prevent injury.
That's cool.
It's kind of a balance. And what I really appreciate about our Sensei Jay Creasy, he has dedicated his life to Japanese martial arts, lived in Japan for 20 years, and he fully immersed himself in it. He's a Shinto priest. He's done all kinds, and we work with him. I mean, he's the guy that makes the Budo bands.
Yeah.
Handmade, you
By
know?
him, yep.
And when someone buys a Budo band, they're helping support the Usagi Jinja shrine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people get married in there. He does funerals there. It's a community center.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I love that we can do through Budo Brothers is help and create incredible artisans. He's an artist.
Yeah.
Everything that he does is a work of art.
Mm-hmm.
And so every Budo band that he makes by hand, okay, is a work of art. And that's what's so cool, that we get to help incredible humans like that share their gifts with the world.
And you got super excited, and I need to get injured in order to test it more out, but we have a collaboration coming up, and I think that's pretty exciting. And it's with Plum Dragon Herbs.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Deep Dot Jowl.
Yes.
Man. So I got onto Plum Dragon through Tom Voss.
Yes.
So when we were shooting, you know what it was? Remember, we were shooting
Yes, I do
Pakamut.
remember now.
We were shooting Pakamut down in LA with Grandmaster Felix Roylis and Tom Voss.
Yeah.
And you and I were testing out the cameras, and we're like, and remember the dude who was helping us set up the cameras, like, hey, could you guys do some stuff? We're like, I don't know, what do you want to? So okay, so we started like doing some we were doing like a Huba drill or something.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we were trying to be show off. We were hot dogging, and you know what? The odds of getting injured while you're hot dogging and trying to show off,
super high,
huge. You know, if ever I'm like, you want to see me spin my hambo,
or
smash,
or if there's some girl you're trying to impress when you were younger,
never works.
And you take the stick, you didn't even hurt.
Take the hit. But that's always when it happens, and that's what's so funny, because I think that's just like the universe slapping you across the head, being like, quit it.
Yeah.
Just stop it. You know, you're gonna do shit like this. This is what's gonna happen.
So, anyways, training.
Yes. So we were doing this drill, and we got hot dogging, and we were looking at us in front of the cameras. And for whatever reason, I just went too fast, and I punched your elbow. Like my knuckles smashed your elbow, and my hand swelled up.
That wasn't my elbow. That was my arm.
Oh,
no, elbow.
So, but the reality was, whatever I hit made my hand swell. Like I looked like I was wearing a blown up rubber glove. You know, like it wasn't good. And the problem was that it was my good hand and it was my filming hand.
Oh yes, yeah.
And here we are dropping money on a rented studio in LA, and I don't have a filming hand.
Right.
And that's kind of scary. And so I told Tom could tell because I was trying to hide it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just film with this, and it was hurting. Tom was like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, man, I think I messed up my hand while we were training. He's like, "Oh, let me see." He's like, "Oh," and he's like, "Hey, I got some stuff here. Let me." So he goes into his bags. He gets out this little bottle, a vial with like a dropper. He's like, "This is Deep Dot Jowl." I'm like, "What is Deep Dot Jowl? What is Zhao? Tell me now." And so he tells me all the story. It's like it's a ancient Chinese tincture that's loaded with herbs and all kinds of ingredients that your body responds to and helps it heal. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, cool story, bro. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
And turns out, like, there's a lot of natural products that just suck.
Right.
Oh, try this natural deodorant. you stink 2 hours later.
100.
You know, there's a lot of natural products that suck.
Yeah.
So when it's like, you know, I was like, all right, cool. Is this one of those? Sure enough, man, 2 hours later, the swelling went way down. And then I kept just pouring that. I was like, hey, can I grab a little bit of more of that? It seems to be working.
Right.
Put some more on my hand. I'm not even joking, man. And I know how my body responds to those kind of injuries because I've had them before.
Yeah.
And I was watching, like, as the clock was ticking, I was watching my swelling go way down. I didn't even have a bruise, and by the end of the day, I forgot about, like, it was fast. And
wow.
I was like, Tom, whatever that stuff is, I want to buy some. Where did you get it? And then he put me on Plum Dragon Herbs. And so and then we were on their podcast.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. So we were like, we're big fans of your products. And we got on their that was like a year ago, 2 years ago?
More than that.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
At least
two. At
two
least
or three.
Two.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago.
And now, because I'm almost out of my jowl, and I want one right now.
You got to put it in the store for everybody to try right now.
So we've been talking with them, and we've actually collaborated. We are helping them. So we're helping because they have a large martial artist clientele that uses these herbs and teas and all kinds of. They have amazing products, and they've got a large martial arts demographic customer. And so when COVID hit, and we were all concerned. Remember when we launched the school ownership partnership program? School owner partnership program?
Yep.
Where we would split the revenue with our digital seminars. They signed up. They put our digital seminars on the Plum Dragon Herbs website. So we're helping them there, which is great. And then that was where I was like, we should bring out a special edition Budo Brothers Zhao.
Yeah.
So they had, for the last 6 months, they've literally been working on our own Budo Brothers brew, which I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but I think it's going to be a game changer because they are working with some really, really incredible ingredients that is going to make, like, it's not just, hey, let's put our sticker on this. It's like, no, this is a special formula that they have been working on.
Right.
It's being flown up. We're going to be able to test it out. And then if it passes the Budo Brothers quality control rigorous testing, which we do on all our products,
yes,
it will be in our store.
Savagery. And do you think that Zhao is going to be something that is like common for people? Like,
I don't know, man. All I know is that it works so well for me.
Yeah.
And a good example, like I seem to keep re-injuring my shoulder.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like I'm throwing my punches wrong, or one time it was actually when I was your damn right hook nearly took my arm off when we were testing out those pads.
Yeah.
We brought out some focus mitts, which are super badass, by the way. And remember, we were like, we got to smash these. Yeah. I'm like, give me a hard right hook. And I've never seen Kyle throw a hard right. Like, my shoulder was messed up. But no joke, I went and I started putting jowl on it. And man, I can actually say, like, it actually helps. It does work. And so, like, that's what I get when I see something like that. I'm like, more people need to use this because this works. Like, this is good.
Yeah.
You know, and when if we have the ability to help people, it's our responsibility to.
For sure. And how nice is it to be able to use a natural remedy versus a medication,
right?
Or like a Tylenol or an aspirin.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Here's some. Hey, put some herbs on it, and guess what? The body knows what to do. It recognizes things that were grown from the earth.
Totally.
You know?
Like, for me, one of the biggest injuries that plagued me isn't even necessarily like biomechanical, and I've talked about it in earlier podcasts. It's gout. Like, I get gout.
Yeah. And what is gout for those who don't know?
What gout is, from my understanding and what I've been researching, is it's the inability to digest or dissolve purines. So puric acid turns into crystals and it stays in your blood, and it goes in between your joints and causes a lot of pain. And it generally goes in your like toes or in your ankle or in your sometimes people's knees, but it hurts. I've broken my arm like 2 or 3 times, 3 times my ankle once. It feels
like, is it a fire pain? Is it a sharp pain?
For me, it feels worse than a broken leg or a broken arm.
So like impact pain? How would you describe the pain? If you're like, doctor,
feels inflamed and you cannot move the joint. And it's so inflamed sometimes, like if you put a blanket on it, it hurts. Like it just really is
excruciating.
It gets inflamed if it builds up. And so I went to the doctor to talk about fixing this. And the first thing before the man even asked me about anything, here, take these pills.
Right.
Take this medication.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to go on pills every day.
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life. He wanted me to take pills every day for the rest of my life. And mind you, I do need to take them sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
when you need it.
I get a flare up or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's two types. There's one that you take when you get a flare up, one that you take every day.
Yeah.
And I just said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go on medication every day.
Right. Not dependent.
Nothing is free. There's always a consequence.
Side effect. You end up
for anything
bleeding out of your ass or something. Some
anything,
crazy side effect.
Anything you do, like nothing's free. So you are taking this medication. Something's going to add up down the line.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I figured, why not just keep it simple? And I'm going to focus on my nutrition.
Nice. Your diet.
And I really found for me, and this is not for everybody because it's completely different person to person.
Yeah, how your body reacts.
That if I eat meats that are like not clean, like say like a sausage or bologna or
salami,
pizza or like something like that, like I get that flare up.
Interesting. So the body, it's a reaction. So it's an inflammation reaction.
And so as I get old, I might have to switch to more of like maybe a vegan style nutrition plan.
Yep.
But how much better is that than consuming chemicals every day?
Yeah.
And
side effects may include suicidal thoughts. Like, oh boy.
And back to like injuries, like being able to heal yourself through natural methods versus taking a whole ton of crap. Mm-hmm. That's how nature intended it, I think.
Yeah. I really think we underestimate the power of the body. If you give the body what it needs, it'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. You know, and we just, you know, with our diets and how we've polluted our food, you know, and a lot of these ailments is like, hey, I'm being poisoned.
Yes.
You know, and then things start going out of whack.
Yeah. And North Americans love to sell shit. And guess what? The pharmaceutical industry is a massive cash cow.
Monster.
No wonder doctors are telling everybody to sign up for all the drugs. They get paid.
Yeah.
If you want to take a look at like what North America does to stuff, look at face masks. Face masks have been around in Asian countries for a long time.
And I remember it was so weird when I went to Japan and I was like, why is that person wearing a doctor mask? And like, oh, it's because they're sick.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, she's got a cold. And like, so you're telling me they put on a face mask when they have a cold? He's like, yeah, out of respect for their fellow man. Yeah. So they don't get other people sick. And it's like totally cool. And totally like, oh, sweet. Yeah. Thanks, bro.
And it's just a normal face mask.
Right.
Coronavirus breaks out, people have to wear face masks. North America has sizes, that. Under Armour's in the game.
Yeah. We're in the game.
Like everybody's in the game to monetize it. And it's just like, at what point of that, and I don't know who's calling the shots with this stuff, because like face mask is a lot bigger than an individual.
Yeah.
At what point of that are you doing it for profit? Are you perpetuating the system for profit or for protection? Mm-hmm. And I've always wondered that, especially with pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Right.
Are you increasing pharmaceuticals because you're creating more profitable companies? Or are you doing it for the benefit of people?
Right. But yeah, without the incentive to take risks, why would anyone go venture out to go? You know, there's the incentive of making a profit drives business, that drives innovation, but that gets into that tricky area, right? Where you're like, hey, it's really profitable if we make a drug that's really addictive and you're on it for the rest of your life and you get like it's like, how do you fix that? Like, how do you fix that? Like, cause you can't expect, like, solutions and medications aren't just going to come out of thin air. Right. Somebody has to go spend money. And do you know how many billions of dollars it takes to develop a drug so that it doesn't, people's arms don't fall off when they take it. So there has to be a payoff to that. So and this is a wormhole we're going to.
Totally. Because at the same time, you're like, how many illnesses, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, all these things could be fixed by a doctor being like, look, I don't want to see you again until you get your nutrition on point and you do some exercise.
Right. Here's your blood work. This is where you're low. You should be eating like this and working out like that.
And then checking up with them.
Yeah. And shocker. Do you know how many? But you know what? And that's the problem. The doctor didn't make money in that.
Yeah.
Who made money? The gym. $67 a month.
And you don't even need to go to the gym.
I know. And so, but that's why you like those things that work. They're not fasting. Fasting's a great example. Intermittent fasting has clinically proven incredible benefits for longevity, for autophagy, for cleansing, for all, like, documented, scientifically proven. Who's going to make money by telling you to eat less? No one.
Not the corn industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fast food. Okay, so food, like you're telling somebody so we live in a consumer-based society, and you're telling somebody, hey, you know what? You can actually fix diabetes and a whole bunch of other crazy problems if you switch to fasting and get this on point, Yeah. And intermittent fasting, the doctor doesn't make money. Nobody makes money. It's like, but it works, like it's interesting.
I think we got to open up another podcast about this. Maybe we'll start something called like Budo Body or something like that.
I like it.
And do some type of health.
Budo Body.
I like that, yeah.
Let's do a digital seminar on Budo Body.
That'd be dope.
And you know what? You're a kinesiologist. You've spent your entire life working on the body. I feel like we don't have to go very far to tap into some wisdom.
We could just do what we do.
Do what we do.
Yeah.
Put together a program that anyone can do at home. Solo. No weights.
Yes. So Budo Brothers Challenge. I know this is about injury, but the Budo Brothers Challenge is to figure out how to give yourself a workout in your space. And like, I bet you it's pretty easy right now because a lot of people have already had a lot of practice, but break a sweat in your area. Like,
yes.
Don't have to go out and do something and just don't be reliant on another location or another person in order to keep you in shape.
Nice. Figure out ways to break a sweat at home.
Yes.
I like it. That's a good challenge. Awesome. And if you haven't done it, time to do it. Time to break that sweat, because we will guarantee that you feel better when you do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's the end. If you haven't, please go to www.budobrothers.com, sign up for our mailing list. We're putting a lot of work and effort into that, sending out content, just keeping people up to date on product drops, what's coming out on new things. We got boxing gloves in the works. We got focus mitts. Yeah. Everything you ever want to know about Budo Brothers will be coming through there. And then follow us on all the social media things.
Absolutely. Yeah. So until next week, this is Eric
and Kyle
signing off.